Okay,
Oh,
Kim.
y'all, this is
Kim, you can start it.
No. Uh-uh. I'm trying not to laugh.
hello, and welcome to another episode of the Red Door Conversations podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us. My name is Kimberly Dixon Dudley. I am joining you from the Medical Center right here in Houston, Texas, and I want to introduce my lovely co-host first before we get started. Marla Lewis, how's it going out there in Clear Lake?
Hey, it's going good.
Oh, good. Lisa B. White,
Mhm.
what's going on with the
Hi.
weather in Pearland?
Sunny and shiny.
Hey, Tana Young, how's it going out there and out north?
It is going wonderful, nice and dry.
Excellent. Nice and dry, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so thank you guys again for joining us for another episode. We have a few or couple of special invited guests who will share here in a second. The topic of this show is pets and real estate. And so if you are a homeowner or if you are looking for a home, about to move, you'll want to set aside 20, 30 minutes right now, take notes because we have some really good, helpful tips for you and your furry fur babies. So get ready. But before we go into the show and talk about our red hot topic, I want to introduce my fur baby, Miss Chelsea Clinton. Say hey. She's
Hi, Chelsea.
representing her Cowboys,
That's it. That's it, Chelsea. That's my girl.
America's team. I don't have a dog
Oh, wow.
in that fight.
America's team.
Look, I don't have a dog in that fight. Pun very much so intended. My husband and mama are Cowboys fans, die hard. So the dog has to be too. And our next special invited guest is Mr. Ye, pronounced like Kanye.
Yes.
Okay.
He's like, what are you doing?
Girl, he was shaking so bad. I was trying not to laugh, but that's just Chihuahuas. They be shaking,
So
And Tana let it be known when I was pronouncing his name incorrectly. Tana let it be known. No, Lisa, yay. Yay, like Kanye.
Like Kanye. Like cuckoo Kanye.
So they may not join us for the whole show because they're not as seasoned as we are in podcasting. So we're going to jump right into the red hot topic. Lisa, what is today's red hot topic?
Okay, guys. I mean, it is crazy. Okay, so there was a family in Jacksonville, Florida, and the interest rates are very low right now. So everybody is trying to take advantage of those low interest rates. And so this particular family, it is a biracial family. The husband is white, the wife is African American, and they were working with their lender to have their home refinanced. And the area that they live in, it's just minutes from the Ortega River in Jacksonville, Florida. And so in this particular area, the homes range in price point from 350 to 550. And based on their specific area, they were in expectation that their appraisal would come somewhere around 445 to 460. Well, the first appraiser that came to the house actually appraised their home for 330. And so the first appraiser, when he came in, the Hortons, that's the family, they had pictures of their family up, and they had some different art in the home. Well, I guess they sought counsel from their realtor, but they had their home, they were displeased with the appraisal, and they asked their lender if they could pay for another appraiser to come out. So this time they removed all traces of what the article calls blackness, No pictures were up of family pictures, no black art, none of that was up. And so the next appraisal, it came in, the first one was at 3:30. The next appraisal, guys, it came in at around 450, 460.
What?
Yes,
Dang, that's a huge difference.
huge difference.
Wow.
Huge
Now, Lisa,
difference.
you said they removed their artwork. I
Wow.
think they had some African American artwork up.
Yes, they removed artwork, they removed their family photos, they removed all of that. And the second appraiser came, and the wife, who is African American, she was not at home when the second appraiser came in. She was at home when the first appraiser was there. But
That's a shame.
the husband was there when the second appraiser came in.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that jump. But guys, it's real. It's real.
Yeah.
It's not happening in just Jacksonville.
Right.
I had a transaction in last month in July, and I was representing the seller, and it wasn't that much of a gap, but it was substantial. And my sellers were like, "Hey, if the buyers can't come up, we will just relist it or we will lease it out." The buyers felt that my sellers were backed up against the wall because they were buying another home, and they were under the impression that my sellers needed those funds to close on the new home. No, dear, no, dear, we're still closing on this other house, and you're not going to devalue my client's home.
You know, the reason this is a red hot topic is because a lot of people don't understand that an appraisal is an opinion of value.
That's
And
it.
each individual human being who comes out and gives an assessment of value of your home is doing just that, giving their assessment, which includes their biases sometimes.
That's right.
But I was talking to someone else and they said, what if this is just them projecting what their forecasted values will be based upon this crazy COVID world we're in? And I said, no, because I shared the story, Lisa. I said, no, because within a short window of time, 2 different appraisers came out and they gave a drastically different
That's
value.
very drastic.
Yeah, that's a big jump. That's a big
And
jump.
so here's my thing, Kimberly, to your point. When you are doing an appraisal, you're looking at the comps for that specific area within the last 6 months. And you cannot forecast what the market is going to do. You have to evaluate and give an opinion based on what the market is doing. Right, right.
But
wow.
And we may want to give some information to this. If someone is experiencing that, you do have the option to challenge that appraisal.
Yes.
And so you want to talk to your realtor, you want to talk to your lender and ask them what the steps are to have this appraisal reconsidered.
To have it reviewed. They have to go back and have it reviewed.
A lot of people will take that value as, this is all that I can do and move forward. But no, there's a step that you can go further. If you feel like this is something that's happened to you, your appraisal and your value is coming in shorter than where you really know it should be.
Now, let me ask you guys this. How often do you think something like this happens?
A lot.
You think so?
More often than it should, Marla.
That's true, Lisa. That is so true. It happened to me.
So
it happened to you.
I was going to say a realtor can have comps ready. They can have them at the house. But does that even really help? If you have an appraiser come out that's going to, give their opinion on what they believe the house is valued at. Because I've had that happen where comps are right there and they still go against my comps.
Well,
we're talking $100,000 though.
That's a big difference. That's a huge difference.
But a lot of times, Santa, to your point, they'll look at the comps and still not really be familiar with the area. So if you know,
I was going to say that too. Yes.
If your realtor knows that there's some changes happening, for instance, in Third Ward, I had my own home come in $70,000 when we were building a home from the ground up. He gave us $70,000 less than the value. And I had a conversation, was able to show him, not only are there homes appraising for where we need to be, but there's also new commercial development being planned. So if an HEB literally did a 30-year study of where this area should be, And so if HEB has this information, you should know that this type of commercial development is happening in and around the homes that you're appraising. And that made a difference.
Kimberly, do you think that appraisers should only go out if they're familiar with the area versus having an appraiser come out if they live in Galveston, but they're coming out to the Woodlands? To me, that doesn't it doesn't make any sense at all.
Absolutely.
Maybe maybe it'd be really good for the agent to put together a really good binder for the appraiser, including what's going on in the community, if there is a new grocery store being built, and if they can go ahead and put any other information in there, long-term development.
Here's the deal, Tana. I believe that if you're not familiar with the area, as an appraiser, you should take all the help that you can get. Absolutely. And I've been fortunate enough to run into appraisers that might say, I had one not too long ago in the Pearland area that that appraiser did reach out to me and said, hey, where are you getting your comps from? And so with that being said, I was able to explain, hey, this is what's going on in this area, let me show you. And in that case, he was very receptive. However, sometimes they are not receptive, and in those cases it's not fair to like this particular couple to have to pay for another appraisal. I mean, it's worth it in the end for sure. 100K. I mean, that was definitely worth it.
I think the buyer should have been reimbursed personally, because that is a huge difference between the first appraiser and the second appraiser. I think they should have been reimbursed for their money.
Let's get to the big issue in all of this. This is still a classic case of systemic racism that is still plaguing the home ownership for Black Americans. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know how do we get over it? Yeah, how do we do it? I don't know. I don't understand. In my particular situation, I found out that the buyer worked for the lending institution that was doing the loan. And in my research, I also found out that this particular lending institution is known for doing this with the appraisals. Correct.
Oh, wow.
And they do a lot of work within this area. And so guess what? If I'm selling a home and I know that buyer, hey, you're going to have to get approved with someone else. We're not working with that institution. I'm just not going to do it. I can't put my sellers at risk for this to happen again.
Wow.
Excellent point.
But to your point, Marla, and then we'll move on. But to your point, a good appraiser is going to call you when he sees that there may be some issues with making value.
Yeah.
Very
there.
That recently happened with me on, the house that I just closed on. The house did not appraise, but the appraiser did call me to let me know, hey, Tana, this is what's going on. Do you have any comps that you can send over? And the listing agent, this is what's going on. They provided comps, but they are outside of the neighborhood when there's comps inside of the neighborhood. So unfortunately, we kind of went back and forth, but at the end, the price of the home was dropped. Well, it was the seller gave it to my buyer for what it appraised at. That's what I meant to say.
I think we have to like you said, Marla, like you said, Tana, we have to collectively understand that we're all in real estate and we're all motivated to do truthful, accurate share truthful, accurate information with the public, and we hope that an appraisal is that way. But all that we can do, Lisa, to your point, is be aware of lenders and institutions that are operating like this and protect our clients, and then show up and engage the appraisers, or have them be welcoming when they're engaging you and they need information and feedback. So
well, let me just say this, and I know we got to move on. You said show up, Kimberly. Well, let me tell you, the appraiser that I spoke to, she said they do not like to have, especially with COVID, they don't like when realtors present when they're appraising the property. They don't.
Well, you don't have to be there to be friendly, but you maybe share some information that he may not.
Right. Because here's the bottom line, guys. If you're taking a home that and you're placing that home, let's say it's in a predominantly African American neighborhood, right? And you drive up the street 3 minutes and you're somewhere else, because we're all in the Houston metro area, guys. It can switch up pretty quickly because we have such a vast area. However, it's important, because if you do that and you have a home that's 2 or 3 minutes away, what is it about this home? You have to ask yourself, as a professional, as I don't care if you're a realtor, I don't care if you're an appraiser, I don't care what you are, you have to ask yourself, if this home is in the exact same condition as this home, what is it? What is it? You have to at some point question yourself. $100,000 is absurd. That's crazy. That's wow. Wow.
So we're going to transition and dive right into the show, today's show, a little lighter. This is important. This is definitely important information. We're going to dive into the today's show, which is pets and real estate. Homeowners, renters, get ready. We're discussing pets and real estate. And the first topic is selling your home with a pet. So if you're selling your home with a pet, there are 3 things you really want to focus on, just to make sure that you're putting your home, showing your home in the best light. And the first thing you want to focus on, I'm going to share my screen very quickly, is neutralization of smells. You want to make sure your home doesn't smell like your pet. And then if you're a homeowner, Tana, I've never heard this before. Most people, Chelsea, takes baths regularly, and she's a little dog. But if you're a big dog, a lot of homeowners are just nose blind to whatever scents their dogs are carrying inside their home. But that translates into some issues for particular buyers. So you want to make sure your home doesn't smell like a dog, a cat, or whatever your pet is in your home. So there's a few things that I have here on the screen. I'm going to leave this up here so people who are watching can see this. But you want to vacuum or sweep your home daily. You want to brush your dog with a de-shedder if they're a dog that sheds. You should use baking soda deodorizers on your carpets, because your carpets carry so much of the smell in your home. And wash your dog's bedding. In fact, I Febreze beds and blankets. I Febreze. Oh, and that was the next step. Febreze couches and curtains. And so on a monthly basis, we recommend that they say monthly. I bathe my dog more than once a month. And I personally have a carpet shampooer. So when I think I even have a hint of a smell of a pet, I kind of shampoo those carpeted areas. And then change your filters in your home. People forget about that because they don't see it. But change your filters, because that's the air that's circulating through your apartment. And people who have allergies will notice the difference. If you walk into the home and you have a dog, they will notice. Their allergies will tell them, even if they don't smell it. And then they recommend getting a purifier and keeping plants. Obviously, plants create oxygen in the home. And the last thing, the most important thing you can do, if anybody is listening with an earshot, please do not use fragrance, like heavily fragrant perfumes, to try to cover dog smells. It doesn't work.
It makes it worse, Kim.
It makes it worse. It does. And so, those were the top tips that I found that we should share with potential homeowners and people who are thinking about putting their home on the market. The next thing that they should do, if you're thinking about selling your home, is to make sure that the whole house is accessible. I mean, realtors, how many times have you walked into a home and a door is locked, or you can hear the dog in the garage, and yes, they're safely put away, but the buyer can only see a part of your home. They're investing in the whole asset. If I'm a buyer and you're a buyer, you want to be able to see every room in the house so you can make an informed decision. So from a seller's perspective, please note that puts your home at a disadvantage if you have a room or the garage locked off to keep your dog out of sight. And then the third thing on our list for selling your home with a dog is, either kennel the dog or take the dog off site. My preference, and you guys can share yours, is if I were selling my home, I'd take Chelsea with me. I mean, just because it's the same thing as taking the pictures off the wall. It depersonalizes the home. The people who are thinking about buying the home can envision themselves there without your pet. So, but the other option is to kennel them, make sure that they're safely put away. I'll share a quick story and then we can move on to something else. I had a realtor tell me that he was showing a property and the homeowner decided to stay home with the dog in the backyard. So stayed at home. They saw the whole house. That was good. That was a good thing. But then when they went to go outside, the buyer and the realtor, the homeowner was sitting there and she said, "Oh, he doesn't bite. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." Honey, the dog broke off the leash, jumped on the realtor, bit him all on his head, on his face, on his neck. He had to go to the hospital. He's bleeding. This has to be the worst home showing experience ever. And they still didn't buy the house. So,
oh wow.
Be cautious. I know you know your pet, but your pet doesn't know everybody else. So
that's correct.
The best thing I would say, the best advice I can give people is to take your pet off site if you plan on showing. So
Kim, you mentioned safety, and the thing about it is, you're right. Your pet doesn't know everybody. And I have a quick story. A few years ago, a client of mine, her son was coming along with us to look at, tour property and all of that. And he was very pet friendly. Every home we went to, and I told him, I said, "You love dogs, don't you? You touching people's dogs. What if they bite you?" He said, "Barking dogs they don't hurt. They won't harm you." And I said, "I don't know about that." So we ended up going to this vacant home, and the seller left a dog. There was no sign of a dog. We didn't hear the dog, anything. We opened the door, went to the backyard, and as we were going out, the dog came. He never said a word. My client's son, he yelled, "Run!" And we took off. All three of us. We took off. He was like, that's a dog that will hurt you. And so with that being said, safety is very important. People forget because your dog knows you. Your dog doesn't know everybody. So for that reason, one of the things that people need to do, whether your pet is considered vicious, non-vicious, whatever, if you have a situation like that, put a sign up. If we prefer, like Kim said, for you to take your pet away. But if your pet is in the laundry room, put a sign on that door. A sign should have been on that back door, placed there for us to know not to even go back out there. That could have been a very bad situation. It was a huge dog. The other thing is the mental health of your pet. We need to make sure that we think about the mental health of the pet, because we're saying, "Oh, they won't hurt anybody." But think about it. This house is being shown day after day, people coming in, people going out. These pets are trained to take care of where they live. They're trained to, I'm going to protect myself. Yes. So that's another thing. So we got to make sure of the mental health of that pet. And then another thing too is, in case something does happen. I mean, you said that they didn't even buy the house when that agent got bit. That's sad, but you could find yourself as a pet owner in big time trouble. All kinds of lawsuits. I mean, sounds like there were medical bills involved. You need an insurance that will take care of if someone gets hurt in any way by your pet.
Now, Marla, do you think it's a good idea for realtors to carry mace with them, when they're showing property to those that have?
I believe in protecting myself. So, hey.
Because I had an experience. I was in Kingwood. This was a few years ago. And I was opening the door and I heard my client in back of me go, "Oh no, oh no." And I was like, why is he saying "oh no" for? And I turned around. There was a Doberman standing right there, just looking at us.
Oh my God.
Just looking. Look, I was like, "Look, all I want to do is open the door." Well, y'all started talking to the dog. I was like, "We're not going to, hurt you." And he just stood there. He was just looking at us. And we walked in and he turned around and left. He was quiet too. He didn't
Wow.
bark. So I'm really happy that he didn't turn around and take a chunk out of one of us.
Well, so here's the deal, Tana. He sensed that you were not scared of him.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
and see, if that would have been myself, he would have ate me up. Because he would have eaten me to pieces, because I would have been terrified.
Running. Just took off running in the house, out the house.
Girl.
Now, were they leasing or were they wanting to buy that house, Tana?
They were buying. Well, I'm looking to buy.
Looking to buy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
said, well,
That's
maybe
really
maybe
something.
the dog saw quite a few agents go in and out, and he was probably thinking like, okay, here's another one. I don't know. I'm just happy, like I said, the dog stayed where he was at and just looked. That's it.
Mhm.
Wow.
So I'm curious to know, like, say for instance, what y'all thoughts are on people who are renting or looking to rent a property with a pet. You know,
Woo, that is definitely a good one. So when you're leasing pets, I think the right thing to do now, Kimberly, you were saying a resume, and so that is really good to have the agent include with their rental application is a doggy resume, and that's a really good one. Yeah. You,
What
so
is?
here, can you see this?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is
so
an
the doggy
example.
resume should include, can you guys see it? Their personality.
Mhm.
It should include references, their shot record, a nice photo of them, and just any information that you want to share about your fur baby with the landlord to make them feel at ease with
Mhm.
accepting the pet inside
Mhm.
of their home. Also leasing with pets, you have to consider a pet fee and also a pet deposit
Mhm.
or an extra monthly fee. So, sometimes there's going to be a pet fee and the landlord will want the tenant to also pay rent
Mhm.
for a baby. I've definitely seen that, maybe $25 a month extra or 35. It just really depends on what the landlord is asking for.
Now, Tana, let me ask you a question. So, does the pet deposits differ with the size and risk factor for the pets?
It does. It does.
Okay.
Not for all landlords, but some landlords will look at the little dogs as less, I'm not going to say threatening, but they're little, so what amount of damage can they possibly do?
Okay.
Whereas a bigger dog, there may be more damage that can be done. So that pet deposit may range depending on their size and also their breed. You have to consider too, when you have a pet, what type of pet do you have? If it's considered an aggressive pet, such as a Rottie or a pit bull, a
Mhm.
Doberman, those sorts of dogs. I want to say a husky. You may not get approved for the
Uh-huh.
lease because of the type of breed dog that you have.
And dog lovers we love our pets. We don't
Yes, they're an
care.
extension of our family.
They are extension of our parents. So we don't think about, what the landlord might be considering in terms of cleaning the home after the pet
Mhm.
is gone. For a lot of people, it's not on the forefront of their mind. They just know that they're not living
Mhm.
anywhere, that their pet isn't welcome. So
Mhm.
the cleaning aspect and floor repairs and things like that. I've seen people say they didn't want puppies because puppies have to be potty trained. They like to chew on things. And
Mhm.
and so
Mhm.
yeah, so cleaning and sanitizing. Lisa, like for instance, you're not a dog lover or
Um,
pet lover.
right. Here's the deal. Chelsea, yay. They've been adopted into the family. But yes, as a norm, I am not. On our rental properties that we don't accept pets.
Wow.
That is
No?
no, we don't want a pet deposit. We don't want any of that. We just don't want them.
Mm.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, sometimes the pet deposits, they can be refundable, but a lot of times I see that they are not refundable. So
Yeah.
if it's 350 or whatever the amount is, you're not getting it back.
Well, I don't think that's a bad thing, and I think that people that are leasing should expect that, because here's the thing: once a pet has been in the home, there there are some things that you're gonna just have to do.
Mhm.
Once that person moves out, there's some things that just need to be done as far as sanitizing. Even if you clean the home, or clean the flooring or whatever, the sanitation of it, it needs to be done from tenant to tenant. So I think that's fair in a non-refundable deposit.
I think
so people should expect that. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the pet, we're not here to discourage you, but what we will say is, like Tana said, it's a bit more of a challenge when you do have the larger dogs. You have to help yourself, like Tana said, by creating that resume. You need to let the owner know, hey, my dog is this, my dog does that. You have to be very transparent with that owner, because you're going to be leasing, right? I mean, and they're not only, that house is not their only concern. The neighbors, what if the neighbors start complaining to the homeowners association? Then you have another issue. So
especially if you have a dog that's barking all the time and doesn't
right.
Elisa, another issue is, as a landlord, I would never want one of my tenants' pets, to bite anybody.
That's correct.
That's another thing that people have to understand when they, feel like, well, they're charging me more for my pet. But a lot of times they want you with your renter's insurance to have something in case that dog bites someone, or and we keep referencing a dog, but any pet really. If your pet bites someone, that's a bad thing for the tenant who's leasing from you, and it could be for the landlord as well. Yeah,
exactly.
And so the landlord is just anticipating any of those things to happen. When you get that pet deposit, when you get that monthly fee that they're charging you to maintain and keep that pet in that house every day, they're just anticipating if anything takes place. And so you have to understand. But here's the deal: if these are things that you don't want to deal with, then you consult one of us and we'll help you purchase. That way you don't have to deal with any of that. Just say forget it. Yeah, just say forget it.
Just say the word. Just say the word.
And we're there to help you. And so when you're so we talked about when you're selling your home, the safety tips, when you're leasing, there is a process in between all of that, and that's moving with your pets. And so when you're moving with your pets, there's a checklist that we're recommending that you do. Make sure you update the pet tags. Make sure you request veterinary records. Keep a week's worth of food and medication with you, because you don't know where you're going to end up. You don't know, what's going to be going on. So you make sure that you have all of that, because the last thing that we want to happen is that your dog has it's supposed to take medicine and you don't have any idea where it is. And so here's the list. And seclude them from chaos. When you're moving, it's very chaotic. Make sure that you have a safe place for them. Prepare a pet first aid kit. You never know when you're moving what's going to happen. Make sure that they're safe in your car, because you don't know if you're going to have an accident, if somebody's going to hit you. If any of that happens, now you've traumatized your pet. The pet could potentially be hurt. So make sure that you're taking all the necessary precautions, because just as stressful as it is for you to move, it's that same stress for your pet to move.
Exactly, especially if they suffer from any sort of anxiety.
Right.
That's really gonna hurt your pet. They're not gonna be able to deal with it. And then to your point, Lisa, when you're moving and you have your pet in your vehicle, you need to make sure that they are secure. Like when I'm traveling with Ye, he's nice and secure inside of my vehicle.
And so it also says that if you're flying, when traveling by air, you check with the airline about pet requirements or restrictions and things like that. Some airlines require you to, do they require you to purchase a ticket?
So Chelsea has flown a lot.
Malaysia?
Can I share a quick story before we close?
Yes, you can, Kim.
I fell asleep on the plane. I think we were going, I don't know where we were going. but she got out of her little kit, and you have to buy a ticket for them. At this time, I think the ticket was $125, but they fit underneath the seat.
Okay.
Not on the seat. They don't get an actual seat underneath the seat. So I woke up to this chaos and this ruckus. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? She had run all the way to the back of the plane. And everybody told me what was happening. As she was walking down the aisle, people were petting her. Hey, Josie. So this seemed like, the right thing to do. She just going up, and I looked back. The guy had her in the air. He was like, whose dog is this? And she just looked so happy and content. So they just passed her back up the aisle, and we continued on the flight. One of the stewardess or the flight attendant said, "Now she's supposed to be in a carrier." I said, "Ma'am, she got out of the carrier. You think I just let the dog roam on the plane?"
Right.
So safety in flying is making sure that carrier is locked while it's underneath the seat. Be sure to do that.
My daughter did just confirm. She said you don't buy a ticket. There's a fee that you have to pay for your pet.
Okay, guys. So hopefully you guys have learned a little bit of what you need to know as it relates to moving with pets, selling your home with pets, leasing with pets, and the safety concerns for your pets. We at Red Door Conversations, I'm not a pet lover. However, I will, your pet will become family to me. I don't like pets I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how they're going to react to me. And here's the deal. I'm going to be scared. So if they can sense my fear, they will eat me up. Those are the ones that I don't like. Chelsea, Yay, and a few others. I love them. Let's put that out there. But hopefully you guys have learned a little bit about pets, moving with pets, and things of that nature. Find us on any of the social media outlets. That's Red Door Conversations on Facebook, Instagram, Apple, iPod, Spotify. Before we go, I do want to let you know, though, that GBR Realty is having a home selling seminar tomorrow. If you're looking to sell, we will be discussing this and a lot more. Please register. I'll provide the link in the comments. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Bye-bye.